Oh, I'm recording. So hey, how are we all doing? Sorry, just practicing my throat singing. You gotta find your way to entertain yourself, better your skills, being the best vocalist around. So, but we're not here for that. We're here to talk about psychology, specifically Erikson's psychosocial theories. No, not psychotic. Psychosocial theories. Oh, I know. So here are the 8 steps. So to go over, there's 8 stages. We got 0 to 1.5 years. We got 1.5 to 3 years. We got 3 to 5 years. We got 5 to 12, 12, 18, 10 to 40. I know, so much it's a lot, but bear with me. And 40 to 65, and finally 65 plus. Because we got tired of labeling all the ages and putting them in categories. No, I'm just kidding. Just that's how it is in the literature. Blame the literature when you can. Blame Erikson. And so this is very relevant. That's why here in RPC we're going to be talking about it. You'll see right now. So first, what the heck is it? So first stage, 0 to 1.5, we got trust versus mistrust. And again, we've done an Instagram video about this, but now we're going to go over it for those who haven't seen it and go deeper whenever. And the purpose here, you want to create hope. You want to create trust with you and your caregivers so they can translate it to the whole world when needed. And so at this stage, just imagine yourself as a little baby. And where you cry for food. Where you cry because you want a hug. The baby does that for that reason. And if it's taken care of, the baby, if they're taken care of, then you develop trust. So if you, looking at this, have trust issues, this may be why. Because especially as babies to 5 years old, everything affects us and we're sponges to it. And we subconsciously create our worldview through it. It's a filter. Everything we do is never truly objective. It's just a filter we adjust to become more objective, right? So that's trust versus mistrust. And so that's our first thing we got to label there. But let's say you are trusting. The next part is 1.5 to 3 years. And I know, we'll fix that trust later. Those trust issues. And so we got autonomy versus shame and doubt. What is that? Autonomy is the sense of self to being capable of doing things by yourself. You want to do things by yourself and you think you're good at it. Versus shame and doubt, the opposite. Hey, I'm shaming you for wanting to do something. I don't let you do it. And so you want to create a sense of will. So, for example, at this age, kids are starting to talk, kids are starting to do things by themselves. We start, potty training them at this age. That's why it happens and that's why it's important. Erikson actually thought potty training is very important because it helps the person control their needs. You're not gonna like one day out of nowhere, walk and then, poop your pants all of a sudden. That'll be embarrassing, right? And so kids at this age start learning how to like control. I can't use the bathroom until I'm next to the restroom. I'm in the restroom. Makes sense, basic common sense stuff. But that's going on in the background. You're learning how to control yourself, having autonomy. You're learning to do things yourself. You want milk? You walk to the fridge. You don't tell mommy and daddy I want milk all the time. Yeah, insert picture of you chugging the milk, right? So that's what happens. Next, we got 3 to 5 years old. This is when we start initiating this is initiative versus guilt. You're creating purpose around yourself and what you're doing. It has a purpose, right? So this is where, again, you start coloring your pictures. And like I said before, you have those really stick figure, ambiguous, vague, I don't know what the heck you drew pictures. But then your mom and dad goes, "Oh my God, that's the most wonderful thing I've ever seen." Even though they clearly can't tell what you just drew. Is that a dinosaur? Or is that Chuck E. Cheese? So You know, that's what happens. But it's important to do that because we start promoting the kid to do things on their own and taking initiative to do so. They don't have to go, Mom and Dad, can I do that? Next up, when you're a toddler from 5 to 12, you start developing industry versus inferiority. So now you start doing things on your own. But now you want to be perceived as that little Superman, right? Flexing your biceps and all that. Like you can do anything type of stuff. And so, right there, right? You show the picture and you don't want to just be congratulated for the picture. You want to be seen as a good drawer. You want to be seen as a good baseball player. Remember those little days of Little League, right? Home run and all that, and you being raised by the crowd. You want those moments, and so that's what you want to be seen as. You want to be seen as competent, as good at something. Or if you ever watched Zeke and Luther, for those, yeah, I'm aging myself in this video. You want to be the best pro skater. So next, we have 12 to 18. So we're in this weird. If you ever read Percy Jackson, if you ever read Harry Potter, ever read Divergent, ever read the dang Hunger Games, it's your time to create your own identity. What do I like? What do I don't like more? Versus role confusion. Are you going to be yourself and be part of a crew? Or is the crew you? Right? Are you just a jock? Or are you a jock with personality? What makes, for example, me, your host, Joe Flo, Joe Flo? Am I just a psychologist? Or am I a psychologist with my own twist to it? A Joe Flo psychologist. Whatever that may mean. Right? So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be part of a group, but stand out enough to be our own person. Awesome. And so now we got 18 to 40, stage 6. Intimacy versus isolation. So we want to be, again, have autonomy and be ourselves and be our own person, but we also want to be part of a group. We want to be part of a family. We want to start a family. That's what you're thinking about all that stuff, right? It's not just you being crazy. That person didn't text back or anything like that. You want to be loved and accepted. And so that's the year there. And of course, in digital age, social media, you have more followers, you might feel more loved. Because those things affect. We're going to talk about that later in this video. Next, we have 40 to 65. You're getting gray hairs. You're becoming that wonderful silver fox or silver vixen. You're looking good, by the way. We got generativity versus stagnation. Care. We're trying to make sure we don't lose ourselves and let ourselves go too much. That's where the term comes from. And we want to make sure we're improving still, yet as we grow old and lose energy and our metabolism, slows down. We're trying to go through that. Think of Sylvester Stallone, for example. He's in that age. He's still making movies. He's still pretty big producing, despite his old age. All love Sylvester Stallone. If you are watching this, all love. I love your movies. I love Rocky. Anyways, going on, we're looking at 65 and up, which is what we call, darn silly, ego integrity versus despair. Cue. Dun dun dun. Is where this is where you feel like you're contributing into life. You're contributing and you're giving a legacy. Or we got those midlife, end life, moody blues, crisis, depression. And so we're trying to seek wisdom and we're trying to see what can we give back to society. A lot of millionaires at this age will probably give their money because again, you're not taking the money to the grave and your family. So you want to make sure you're giving a lasting impact at that age. And again, I want to preface, it doesn't mean we don't think about these things younger in life. I heck did when I was like 7. But it's not commonly found in the population, in a group of people, humanity. It usually starts hitting more at this age. if that makes sense. And so, again, is this relevant? Of course it is, because unlike Freud, who had those weird fixations and weird population, this has been studied across multiple people, multiple populations, multiple cultures. And we can all relate. I'm pretty sure you behind a screen, you in front of me, even, can relate to that. And it's very much so. The only thing now is we're modernly adapting to it, the digital age. Are those, parasocial relationships? We'll get into that another time. But here at RPC, we want to take care of that stuff because even though, let's say at 0 to 2, ooh, my notes, sorry. At 0 to 2, you're very untrusting and you miss that window, so you think. No, they can be tackled back. Let's say you want to trust more, right? Well, I'm going to give you something to trust. Look at this apple. So amazing. And I could just give it to you and tell you, like, bring this back next week to our session. And you take it. And then let's say next week you don't bring it back. I'm not going to shame you and go, oh, you suck. Or anything like that. I'm just going to foster, let's try again. And then one day, you do bring it. You give that back to me. Thank you very much. And now, I have the apple. Now you trust me. I trust you more. Your sense of trust has been repaired. If not, we'd keep doing stuff like this, right? We're going to work to build you up and restore that. Make sure those stages are in not succession. They're in victory instead of loss. You succeed. Let's say let's say you're an older gentleman. You want to have a legacy. I'm gonna tell you. You're like that, 65 plus. Hey, or like, hey, you want to be impactful? Why don't you write me a poem? Make me feel good. And then next week you bring that in, and I'm gonna go. This is pretty cool. Thank you. Or we can work on this, and then you're gonna think like, I'm giving a legacy. I'm making this. One of my last. The word is last momentful impact is making another person happy. That's gonna make you feel better. And let's say you want to give to charity. We'll develop a system. Hey man, there's a good charity I got you here. Why don't you put in $5? You went from 0 to giving $5 to charity, and then it takes care of that little spot, right? I'm not despairing anymore. I'm giving back to society. I have a lasting legacy. Cue that Greek statue of the thinker. And you have that there. Now you're immortalized in your legacy. You're not going to be forgotten and you're not going to be misremembered in a bad way. So here at RPC, we're going to take care of that because your victory is my victory. Your loss, my loss. Your success, my success.